Alright, we should be live. We're back. We're working on Teval, Arbiter Virtue. Hopefully we're finishing her today. We only need 9 more cuts, and they're going to hurt the entire time. I'm starting later because I was watching the streamer event, and then I had to go get lunch and take a shower. So I've come back, and I've set up my normal thing, and I've found this, which is the new and heavy air quotes improved Gatherer, which has gone from what Gatherer was before to basically just worse. Scryfall. Like, with Gatherer before, the whole reason I kept using it despite all of its many flaws is that I had the Oracle game text to the side of the card for every single card. I didn't want to have to read the actual card because sometimes, for various reasons, the cards are a bit harder to read. Either they don't have their current wording, they don't have other things that are important. Like, current wording is the most important one, and sometimes there are things that have, like, backgrounds, watermarks, that sort of thing, which can make the card harder to read on the computer screen. Now, granted, in this mode, they're all zoomed in, but the default mode is this. So, trying to read all of the game text in this little micro font, or even the slightly bigger font, is mildly annoying, and basically the exact same as if I were on Scryfall. So they have taken the only thing that was super helpful and useful about Gatherer over the other sites and gotten rid of it. Good job, Wizards. You did it again. At least for me. That was why I kept using Gatherer over all of the much better sites. So instead of having something unique and useful for people that need to look up cards, especially for things like magic rulings and whatnot, we have changed it to be exactly the same as any other website that I already had access to and could have gone to. So why it's not an option to have, like, one of the lists be what it was, I don't know. Apparently that was too hard. It was too hard to have the functionality of the old system maintained through the improvements of the new one, I guess. But sure, why not? Okay, rant done. It's gonna be so much harder to build commander decks now. I need another site that functions like Gatherer used to. Like, that was so much more helpful than what they're doing now. Like, that is why I use them, even though the other ones have better search engines and better filtering and whatnot. So now they're literally just worse Scryfall. And I wasn't using Scryfall unless I absolutely had to, so good job. Alright, I want to be done ranting now. I want to finish this deck. I need to make 9 more cuts. And given how hard it has been to make cuts for the past, like, 80 plus cards on this list, I am actually expecting it to take a little while. So, clear that off, because we're not cutting Teval. We already cut other Teval, so I absolutely refuse to cut the original Teval that we're building the deck around also. That seems kind of terrible. Also, then who's going to be the commander? Muldrotha? This is not a Muldrotha deck. This is not built with Muldrotha in mind. It definitely has some good cards for Muldrotha, but she is way better as a card in the 99 here, so I think she might be the last thing left over that could take over as the commander, too. I don't think any of the other legends are all 3 colors, or have all 3 color identities somewhere on them. There are a fair amount of legends, though, which is why we cut some of the things that we did. Like, if I can only copy creatures, and these are all legendary, then that's not helping. Yeah, I sat down, I'm like, oh good, I get to finish this deck, and then I'm like, oh, Gatherer's update went through. Alright, let's see how it looks. Probably should have waited until afterwards. Both would have distracted me. If I had not looked at it, I'd be distracted by the thought of, I hope it actually still has the functionality I need. So the only way I could win there is to check it and have it be good, and no. Nah, that's not how Wizards does anymore. Not intentionally anyway. They seem to keep giving me things I don't want and telling me that they've made things better. And I'm over here with the thanks, I hate it. The good thing for them, I love Magic itself so much, because everything else is just not great. I do miss the good old days where they didn't hurt me for liking Magic. Mm. It might legit be Verdant Sun's Avatar. I do not want to cut this dinosaur. I need a critical mass of life gain, and I'm really afraid that I don't have it. Because I can very easily make bodies every turn by doing things, and some of those bodies are going to be big, and sometimes there's going to be a bunch of them. Like, it's either one or the other. Like, I don't make a ton of big bodies all at once, but I can definitely make, like, a bunch of 2/2s and then, like, one big thing for every spell that I cast with the other cards in the deck being out, and if only one of them is out, that's still... Like, even if I'm just making one of the 2/2 zombies off of the cards that are still left on the list or whatever they are. One's a detective. It's a detective, a zombie, and the insect, right? Are the only three we have left from that cycle. Got rid of the other two zombie makers and something else. I'm thinking now, it's like, can we make this deck better by going back and, like, getting rid of some of the other stuff and adding those cards back in and just being a go wide token maker? Like, would... But then, if somebody destroys our Insidious Roots or something, then the whole deck kind of gets a lot weaker. And I don't want Insidious Roots over any of the ones that I currently have, even though they'd be able to tap for mana, because then only the Insidious Roots tokens are growing, and I need to actually grow them. In the meantime, I'm only gaining 1 life for them coming in and whatnot. Like, I feel like there's a whole lot of medium at that point to the deck, if I try and do that. But there's so many different ways for things to leave my graveyard and trigger all of these things. In fact, there's tons of ways for things to leave my graveyard as it is. Like, that's kind of the whole deal with this deck, is casting stuff from the graveyard or using the graveyard as a resource to cast the things from my hand. Sometimes one, then the other. And it literally can go either way. So... Children and, what's its name? Not Archives, the other one. Well of Lost Dreams. It's gonna be so wonderful. It's like, I drew a card, I gain 2 life. I can pay up to 2 and draw 2 more cards, and gain 2 life for each one of them, which, again, and so on, until I run out of mana or the desire to draw cards. Yeah, I keep looking at Sholdred to cut only because she won't live long enough to do the thing that I actually want her in the deck for. If she were literally just 2 black and 2, I gain 2 life when I draw a card, she would somehow be better. Like, 4/5 Death Touch with every time I draw a card, I gain 2 life. I don't know what that's doing as a mono black creature, but that would certainly be incredibly helpful for me, because everybody's going to kill her for her other mode. And I am only playing her really for that first mode. The second mode is certainly helpful, and if it wasn't for the fact that it will get her killed so quickly, I won't get to benefit from the first mode that much, if at all, I would say that I would gladly take it, but it's actively hurting her to deal the damage to the opponents just because it incentivizes them to kill her way sooner and more focused than they would be otherwise. Like, if I play a 4 mana 4/5 Death Touch, I gain 2 life whenever I draw a card. I don't think anybody's going to care, and it's only going to die when the board hits critical mass and somebody pulls the trigger on a sweeper. But you play Sheoldred and she's immediately eating whatever removal spell gets her off the table right now, because everybody wants to draw cards and do cool things in Commander, and she is messing with that really bad. Which is the only reason why I would consider cutting her. And at the same time, it's like, do I cut a card that is this must kill? Because sometimes I'm gonna top deck her in a drawn out game, and somebody's going to have to look at Sheoldred and look at something else horrible and go, I can literally only kill one of these things, and I'm still at 20. I guess I kill this one, and it will be based on what they have in their hand and what they think they can draw over the next few turns. But they were already planning on killing the one thing, but they were waiting, and I just drew Sheoldred, and I have literally nothing else going on. So I need to get her down before I die to the thing that they were thinking about killing. Don't think, like, the removal spell package has the most room, but it also, it needs a mixture of things for different problems. Like, the more I cut, the less of a Swiss Army knife I have, and the more of just, like, the knife and maybe the tweezers. And now I'm missing, like, all the other stuff that could be really helpful, because I can't cut any more counterspells, I don't think. I barely have any to begin with. I think we're down to 3. It's like Glenelendra, Fierce Guardianship, Mana Drain, Disallow. We're down to 4. Because I keep forgetting that we have one of them, but I always change which one of them I've forgotten we still have. But we got rid of all of the other ones. Back when I thought we had 6, or maybe 5. Now we're down to 4, and sometimes I think it's 3. We got rid of a bunch of the target removal, so now we only have, like, a handful of instant speed ones that kill a single permanent. And 2, like, big ones that can kill, like, permanents either of different types or from each player. So I'm still covering, like, all my bases as far as individual permanent is too strong and needs to go. But we only have 1, like, full-on flip the table and 2 other creature wraths in the deck. So while we have all of this removal, it still doesn't feel like we have quite enough removal. That being said, it might wind up being Gearhulk at this point. The only downside to cutting Gearhulk is that I could tutor for it with Fabricate. And we have a bunch of other useful artifacts to tutor for. Although we're losing a bunch of them. Maybe we've lost enough different artifacts, as we've also lost 4 different pieces of equipment now. Yeah, maybe I haven't rechecked the artifact sublist, which I don't technically have a sublist for, so let's pop up here. So that way we start from here, and I have to go through all the parts. Artifact Remix, part this, part this. So let's see, we have Soul Ring, Scroll Rack, Mindslaver, O-Stone. So O-Stone is one of the bigger ones I can tutor for right now. Mindslaver's not terrible. Well of Lost Dreams is okay. Crucible's okay. Top, as long as I don't have any of the combos with Top right, like, active at the moment, it's not super important to go grab, but we do still combo pretty well with Top. Whip of Erebos is a big one to go get. It's Emery caring about artifacts. Lithoform. Jingataxis cares about artifacts. Terra Sunder cares about them. Archives. All the jump starts. So what do we have, like 18 artifacts to tutor for? I'm starting to wonder if we lose... do I not have the game text for what's its name? Yeah, I don't have the game text for Fabricate. Is right there. Alright, I'm starting to wonder if we lose Fabricate and... Mystical Tutor and put Profane Tutor back on the like add Profane Tutor to the list. Technically, Profane was never on the list, but and at that point, do we want Dark Petition then? Dark Petition is worse, except when it's not. When I can exile 3 cards from my graveyard to cast it and still have an instant and sorcery in there. I think you still have to have it in there because you have to pay the cost first and then it checks to see if spell mastery happens. But if we still have 2 in any combination of instants and sorceries in the graveyard, then we spent 2 mana on it, we get 3 mana back, but that's only if our commander is active. If our commander's not active, then we have to spend 5 and possibly get 3 of it back. So we net spend 2 mana like a normal Demonic Tutor. Teval only lets us cheat 1 mana on Grim Tutor though, and we still lose 6 life for casting it, whereas we only lose 5 for Dark Petition. And splitting the difference on Diabolic Tutor just seems terrible. Like, this does not seem like a Diabolic Tutor deck. What is the cost on increasing ambition? Oh, it doesn't... Okay, I was about to say, is it not auto-completing anymore on this page? That's super unhelpful. Oh, good, and it's showing me the arena version, so the text box is a little wonky, too, while we're at it. And it's still got the watermark on the card. Add a little extra shade to the letters. But yeah, it's a 5-drop Demonic Tutor, and if we cast it from the graveyard, we get a second card. No, that's not better. I don't know if it's better or worse that it's showing me things like this. So the biggest problem with this card is that if Teval's not in play, and if I don't have Teval and I don't have Spell Mastery, the card is actively terrible. It is worse Diabolic Tutor. So one of those two has to be true when I cast it, preferably both. Alright, so if we put in Dark Petition, we can get rid of Fabricate and Mystical Tutor, I think. Still be fine. We do have a handful of ways to draw a card at instant speed, like enough that Mystical Tutor is normally fine, but I'm running out of room, so if I can get rid of 2 cards and replace them with 1 card. So we need Origins. It's 3 black, sorcery. real quick. Duplicate tab. Real quick. Go back. I want the exact... So search your library for a card. So the rules text has to have search your library for a card. There's literally 19 that can't be right. There are not 1988 results. Okay. That's a bit better. All right. Larger because it's already a bit. Oh, for a card named. Got it. Alright, we're not searching for 4-drops a lot of the time, so Beseech the Mirror isn't working. I don't have an innate way to sacrifice the skeleton, and even if I did, that takes a little while to get going. Bargain. I also don't have a ton of fodder if I don't have certain cards in play for Diabolic Intent. So that one doesn't really work. These are all transmute cards. Disciple. Instant Memories gives people options. It's mute. Searches for a specific card. Tomb is in graveyard. Grim Tutor. Brood Lord. Our Victory. Not necessarily. Not going empty-handed enough for Infernal. Nana is expensive and puts it on top. Those of Brokos can only get permanents. And it has a very convoluted way of getting them on top of that. Like, I have to put them in my graveyard, then return them. Profane Tutor. Profane Tutor doesn't get me the card right away is the biggest problem. If I draw it in a close game where I need the card right now, the delay is actually pretty fatal. I do not mind it, though, because it can get any card, and I get to decide what card it's getting. It's not like the Creation of Avacyn, you search your library for the card and put it in exile and get it 3 turns later, so you have to pick what the card is ahead of time, and then it still has to be relevant by the time that you're going to draw it, so... Yeah, there really isn't anything else that does what I'm looking for. I was hoping that there was some tutor, and I guess technically I was forgetting Demonic Bargain, but that's still not good enough. Yeah, if it somehow milled the top 13 cards of my library, but that would have been way too powerful. Like, that would actually have been such a massive upgrade to this card that it would need to cost more mana. Putting so many cards into the graveyard for that low of a cost, like, I would have tripped over myself putting this into the deck already. Probably broken one of my monitors, and then I'd be sad. I guess it's a good thing it doesn't cost that much, or cost that little in mill cards at the same time. Yeah, nothing else even comes close. Alright. I was really hoping there was something, but, you know, trying to find another Demonic Tutor caliber card, I guess. Alright, so that does bring me down to 68. Yeah, the fact that I can go up mana on Dark Petition with my commander plus its spell mastery is actually, like, that makes it worth 5 life. I will pay 5 life to search my deck for a card and add a black mana and spend no actual additional mana on the spell every single time. Chief Ascension, Hedron Crab. Getting Exsanguinate at this point. Hot Scour. Exquisite Blood. Sonic Rift with Erebos. Og. Do I cut Noxious Gearhulk now? It's probably the worst of my removal spells still on the list. It's still a decent card in my deck, is the issue. Like, it destroys any creature, and it gives me life, so if the thing has 6+ toughness, I don't necessarily even go down on life, and I could go up on life without it needing anything else to help it. It is good in the deck, but I have cheaper interaction, more versatile interaction. I even have another good creature for this type of effect in the Deathclaw. So, yeah, I think just from a lack of anything else I can cut, and because removal has the most redundancy out of any of the sublists, we can cut Noxious Gearhulk now. Still not prepared to say anything against Vernsun's Avatar just yet. Need the Emery, I need that early mill. Taxus, Shigeki. And no, Shigeki's too good in the deck. It mills me, it helps me find lands, and then in the late game, it gets me back some of my stuff without dealing me any damage. And all of that is just too good. Shigeki survives so many rounds of the card does a bunch of different things, and it doesn't do any of them perfectly. So I'd rather have like one of each of the things that does it perfectly. But Shigeki is really good at the two main things it's doing, which are milling me and getting my stuff back in the mid to late game. Alright, real quick, because I keep doing this with Shigeki's wording. Actually, I should have just done this one, because this is the one that's on this one. So, Shigeki... Shigeki is just... Yeah, non-legendary card, so Shigeki can get back my instants and sorceries, too. Which is a big deal. Yeah, Shigeki's just way too good in this deck, I think. Not being able to get back legendaries is a little bit frustrating for some cards, but being able to get back my actual spells, because that's one of the things that only Shigeki and Eternal Witness can actually do, is get back something that I've milled, like Expropriate, for example. So I had to double check, make sure I had the exact wording for Shigeki, that it was just non-legendaries, not non-legendary permanents or something. Yeah, being able to regrow a card like Doppelgang and cast it for X equals any number is probably going to be too good. Probably not doing it all in the same turn because I want to buy back some other cards too, but if I can end of turn channel Shigeki into untap and Doppelgang, probably gonna be happy. I don't think I can cut drag to the roots. It's gonna cost 2 mana enough of the time, and even at 4 mana, like, I'm not spoiled for choice in the 3 mana kill any non-land permanent department. Like, it's things like Mortify, which have a much narrower card selection. Terra Sunder that A, we're already running, and B, requires 4 mana in order to kill what is normally the most relevant creature or card type in creatures. And Assassin's Trophy that I'm already running. So, yeah, I can't really scrounge up another black-green Vindicate at instant speed for less than 4 mana anyway. So, I'm like, yes, there's Mortality Spear, but we don't gain life on the opponent's turn often enough at the right time. Like, we usually gain it in combat after damage has been dealt, is like our most likely thing with lifelink. We don't have a ton of life gain outside of that. Unless we can make creatures an instant speed with Burden Suns or something. And then we're usually spending mana on things like that, so it's not like we can cast Mortality Spear for 2 without having to have 3 or more mana available anyway. So, and sometimes we'll just have our commander out and be able to cast it for 2 mana anyway, regardless of what's in our graveyard. But yeah, all of that technically works. Yeah, I did not consider that with Mortality Spear when I cut it, is that with Teval out, they're all going to cost 2, because that's how it works. But this way, we're taking 2 less points of damage by having something like Assassin's Trophy in the deck. And sometimes we won't even need to exile the cards with Drag to the Roots. I don't want to cut Glacier with Siege. I like being able to mill myself with it, and I like having the option to have a Crucible of Worlds when I haven't drawn actual Crucible of Worlds, or when it's already been killed and I haven't found a way to bring it back yet. Assuming I don't desperately need to mill myself at the time. Which I might. You never know. I think I'm cutting Ugin. Yeah, we still have enough artifacts on the list. Like, all my colorless spells now, except for Ugin and Ulamog, are artifacts. So, yes, all my colorless spells, besides Ugin and Ulamog, are colorless. And Ugin and Ulamog are colorless, too. That sentence was wrong on every level. It's still not... I don't have a land, though. I still have to go back and watch that and figure out where my brain kind of snapped and what I was mumbling about up until that point. Because I was so tired, and staring at this list for an hour just made me start to doze off or something like mid-sentence there, and when I regained consciousness and realized that I had ended that sentence with "I don't even have a land," and then just trailed off, I had to try and figure out what I was talking about, which made all of us. Like, it doesn't just make 2 of us, that makes all of us who were involved in that one. Yeah, we're losing the Noxious Gear Hulk. That one's pretty much a given. Deathclaw, Amzu. Alright, we made it all the way through the list again. We're cutting Noxious. So we cut it from the removal pile, the life gain pile, and the, like, 6+ mana payoffs pile. Things we get to ramp into and whatnot. Alright, that brings us down to 67. 7 more cuts. Alright, let's look at the sublists. Big splashy spells. Alpha Deathclaw, Lord of Change, Will of the Temor, Profane Transfusion, Archon of Cruelty, Expropriate, Ugin, Doppelgang, Jingataxis, Muldrotha, Ulamog, Exsanguinate, and Mindslaver. So honestly, I think the worst one still on the list might be Mindslaver, and that is only because every other card on the list we kind of know what we're getting. Mindslaver can literally be anything, though, from look at the opponent's hand and mess with their turn a little bit, to win the entire game, and anything in between. Like, for Mindslaver to whiff, though, the opponent has to not have and not draw anything and not be able to do anything too terrible to themselves. Like, if the best I can do with Mindslaver is make them make one bad attack with, like, one creature, I think that's... and then tap them out, that might be the worst Mindslaver possible. I guess the worst Mindslaver possible is when you take control of them, try and use their card draw spells to find stuff in order to do more things with their turn, and wind up giving them a card that they would have gotten eventually anyway, but now they're going to untap next turn with it, and you don't have a way to get it out of their hand now or to make it bad for them. You know, they drew something too expensive to cast, but next turn they're going to untap, so if you had have left the card draw spell in their hand, they would have had to draw it next turn, and so it would have been 2 turn cycles. I think that's the worst Mindslaver. That's like the worst a Mindslaver can do, is where you try to make it worse for them and you accidentally make it better. You know, assuming I can't just rebuy Mindslaver and hit them with it again next turn cycle. So that way we can actually take advantage of the spells we made them draw. Yeah, it is the worst in a vacuum. Like, all the other things are definitely going to do stuff that mess with them, but it's also, like, almost no other card on this list can just solo win me the game. Like, Exsanguinate can be lethal all by itself. Doppelgang can put enough stuff into play that various triggers will make it nearly impossible for me to lose. But, like, nothing else is going to just straight up win me the game when I cast and activate it, the way Mindslaver potentially can. Archon of Cruelty is just too much value all at once. Profane Transfusion just works so well with my deck, especially if I dome myself for 9 while casting it. Like, even if life totals are close, that usually solves it and probably gives me like a 10-10 or something on top of that, while putting somebody else to almost dead. Will of the Temor is a bunch of cards and a 4/4 dragon that's a copy of one of my other things. Lord of Change is 3 cards, and Alpha Deathclaw is kill a permanent, later on kill another permanent. Yeah, if I'm not cutting... Strawberry System. Thank you for the raid. Welcome to the channel. So, what were you streaming today? So... Mindslaver is one of the worst still on the list. Ah, what were you watching? Mindslaver is the worst one still on the list. Then what are we... Or what is potentially worse than Mindslaver at that point? Okay. Just picked a random channel then? I still appreciate it. Ah. So, since I haven't... So, Indigo League, is that the original one? Is that like the early seasons? Or is that one of the later seasons? It's been... I have not watched Pokemon since... I want to say like the Silver Gold era, really, so... I forget what the naming conventions for the various seasons are. Ah, okay. That makes more sense. Okay, so I'm assuming then for Pikachu, if you're going by Smash Brothers characters. See, I wasn't sure if Indigo League was the one for like, uh, oh god, is it Fro Ninja? Whatever the frog thing's name is. Well, if you use any of the normal sites like Moxfield or something, I will. The thing will hit you with like a timeout for posting the link, but I'll definitely take a look at it and unban you. Want to show off any of them? I'm gonna be a few minutes though. This build has been absolutely killing me. I started off with like 300 cards for Teval, and it's been slow going since I got her down to like 100 and some odd non-lands, so I'm determined to finish her before the pre-release this weekend, though. Okay, so we just ban there. And yeah, just give me a little bit. This will take a little bit though, but I will take a look at your list. Let's see. If we're not cutting any of the other big spell payoffs, looted bonds, blood chief ascension. Hmm. Sanguinate, exquisite blood, whip of Erebos. Is Verdant Sun's the worst of the remaining life gain then? As just a big old dinosaur? Like literally just a big old dinosaur? It probably is. I feel so bad for it. We can do so much life gain with this thing potentially. But it needs the setup is the biggest issue. Like, if I'm just casting a big thing, then it's offsetting the life loss from Tevel, but not necessarily gaining me anything, since most things have casting cost at least on par with their toughness. It kind of needs to be doing other stuff too. Which, when I am doing the other stuff, will net gain me life, so. Yeah, I think it might be the worst one still on the list. Sorry, Verdant Suns. You did good making it this far. You made it to the last 10. You should be proud of that. How many other commander decks are like that excited for a 7 mana 5/5? Don't think I'm cutting any more of the self mill. We're kind of low enough on that. Don't think I can cut any more of the regrow effects. Gotten rid of most of those. That brings us to the removal list again, with all of its options. I'm looking at Ulamog, but I'm probably not cutting him. I put Ulamog in almost every big mana commander deck I build. I can't imagine cutting him from something that could cast him for like 5 mana. I cannot imagine cutting him from something that can go turn 5 Teval, turn 6 Ulamog, and have mana backup. That just seems terrible. He is the most expensive thing on the list, though, so as far as removal goes, it's kind of the worst for that, except when he's not. When he just exiles 2 things and doesn't care if he even resolves at that point. And if he does, he's a 10/10. We're doing great. As long as the trigger resolves, we're doing great, though. He's a little less of a stabilizer in this deck, though, than all of the other big mana decks, because I'm taking 10 to cast him. So it is a little more hurtful when he doesn't resolve. I don't think I can cut him, though. I don't think we have any more card draw we can cut. Right? Everything else is either doing other things in the deck, or is just great at its job. We could theoretically cut up the Beanstalk. If we do that, we have, for volume of cards, we have Well of Lost Dreams. These are all kind of like draw card on each of them. So it's Well of Lost Dreams, Will of the Temor, and Lord of Change, and Teval's Insight, or Teval's Judgment, rather, will draw me about as many cards as Up the Beanstalk will. At a rate of 1 to 2 per turn cycle. Yeah, okay, I need cuts. Goodbye, Up the Beanstalk. I'll miss you. And yeah, the ramp package is already at bare bones, since we don't need anything after Teval is down, and we have enough self-mill. Alright, so that's Up the Beanstalk. There's no more copies of it on any of the sublists. Verdant Sun's Avatar. We have Catacombs and Avatar, yep. Alright. That brings us down to 65. What are the worst 5 cards still on this list? Sorry, Strawberry, I do have to finish this deck today because the pre-release is tomorrow. So I do need to get this one done first. I will take a look at it when I'm done, though. But like I said, that's still going to be a little bit. It's been very slow going. I have managed to cut about an average of 10 cards per hour with this deck since I got it down below 100. So Scroll Rack's still too good. Cutting Mental Note. Mindslaver's on the short list at this point. That's gonna feel so weird when I eventually cut Mindslaver. I have 2 cards that help get it back in Muldrotha and Emery. Like, just to keep getting it back. But both of those will dome me for 6 each time if we don't have the mana available and Teval's in play. Like, if we could get into a position where Teval had left and I could keep casting and activating Mindslaver, that would probably somehow be better for me. Yeah, that might be the biggest mark against Mindslaver, is that one of the things that I would normally do is recur it. Yeah. Word, stop. Just let me cut Mindslaver. I don't care if you want to keep Mindslaver Word document. I'm cutting Mindslaver. You can run it in your Teval deck. Not cutting Polluted Bonds, not cutting Blood Chief. Hedron Crab, no. Not with my fetches. Sanguinate, no. Keeping the Whip, definitely. Probably keeping Ulamog. Although, maybe not. I did actually make an argument for cutting Ulamog, so... Keep the Intervention still. Army's wondering now if I'm going to wind up cutting Mana Drain. If we have Teval out, we don't need the colorless Mana Infusion. It helps, but it's not essential. And if I'm using Mana Drain to ramp into the big spells anyway, that leaves me with 2 actual counters or 3 actual counters. 4 actual counters? Am I still on 5? I literally cannot remember how many counter spells I have at any given point in time. But you know what? I'm talking myself into it. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's cut Mana Drain off the list and Mindslaver. That's 63. We're almost there. Go find the other Mindslaver real quick from the big spells payoff list. 3 more cuts. I believe in us. We can do this. The deck's going to be finished. It's going to be great. We're going to have a nice mana base. We're going to have so many cool non-basic lands. Everything's going to be fine. Keeping all of those. Probably still keeping 6. 6 is a worse Muldrotha most of the time, but it's also cheaper than Muldrotha, and we have 2 different Crucibles to work with, so discarding the land is not, to recast a spell is not bad. It's not like we're going to lose out on lands a lot of the time. But Thirsty Conqueror definitely stays. Expropriate's not going anywhere. Already fought just to get Dark Petition into the deck again, to get rid of the other tutors. If I cut the Dark Petition now, I'm gonna feel... I'm gonna feel a little bit disappointed, honestly. I don't want to lose that many tutors. I still need to be able to find the important things. Hi, Glarb. Still chilling there, being an incredible value engine. Okay, you keep doing you, buddy. I'm sure I'll be back to cut you off of the list eventually. Every time I think about cutting Glarb, it's like, no, he does everything. Right, Childred? Right, can't cut you because you're too good if you don't die, even though you're going to die literally every single time. Unless she doesn't, in which case she's amazing, and that's why I haven't cut her yet. I'm keeping Muldrotha, I probably need to cut 6. Yeah, okay, I think it is 6. I think 6 is one of the last cards I can still cut from Recursion. So 6 from the self-mill list, 6 from the Recursion list, and 6 from the actual main deck. Alright. That is all the copies of 6. Back to Dominaria. And Muldrotha. 2 more. 2 more and we're good. We already cut mana drains, so that I could keep a card like Heroic Intervention in the list. I'm not prepared to cut Ulamog yet. I still think we can do something else. I don't know what yet, but we can cut another card. Come on. It's not Glenalendra, it's not Polluted Bonds. Damnation, no. Farseek. Don't think it's Steve. Bluestone, no. Mental Note. Am I really cutting Ulamog because he's a 10-drop in this deck? Yeah, I made it through the list twice now, and now that 6 is gone, Ulamog is like the last thing where I look at and go, that's gonna dome me for 10 every single time I cast it. The new Ugin is probably just better in the deck. Alright, so it's one more. Actual, factual one more. And we're done. Well, then we have to do the lands, but the land should be relatively quick. Nope, you're gone, Ulamog. Get off my list. O-Stone, Lost Dreams, no. Crucible, no. Witness. Who is the worst card still on the list? Blood Chief, Hedron Crab. Part of me is wondering if it's Blood Chief Ascension. We've cut a bunch of the other cards that help get it online faster, but not enough that it shouldn't be able to get there. And it's so cheap. Like, just getting it down early, somebody's gonna accidentally get a counter or 2 on it early on just from, like, Shocklands or something. I have faith in it. Not cutting Sheoldred, even though I actually legitimately could at this point. Hang on, Glarb. I'm gonna look for something else first. I'm not cutting Glarb yet. I refuse. On principle. Is it Archive? It does nothing on its own. It's good when my other cards are working. It might still be Archive. There's an argument for Archive, at least. Fierce Guardianship. Will of the Temur. Teval's Judgment. Alright, I think I'm actually cutting the Archive. Like, spending 5 mana to double up on my life gain is not amazing, and spending 5 mana to double up on my card draw outside of my draw step is good, but we don't have... I've cut a bunch of, like, incidental card draw off of the list, so it's gotten worse. Yeah, okay. I think it's Archive. Alright. And now we just have to check the lands. And figure out what our mana base looks like. Alright, according to this, we have 35 non-basics. I think we can cut a couple of them. I'm keeping all the fetches. I'm keeping the duels. Wait, why did we jump down to those? Did I actually go... Oh, right, they're onslaught. Wow, I'll be okay. I'm like, why didn't I see the Shocklands first? Because these are the original ones. Oh my god. I'll be okay, I promise. Keeping Bojuka Bog, keeping Opulent, Sunken Hollow, Fetid Pools, Zagoth Triome. Restoration can probably stay... We should keep Port of Carfel because it mills us. And then brings back a dead creature. Do we need Lityara Mirror Lake as a utility land when we have two different Crucibles? I can see cutting the Mirror Lake to give us more room for basics, but we don't need to. So Port of Carfel is blue. Mirror Lake is also blue, right? It's the blue-green one and the blue-black one, and they're both blue, so... We probably have room for one less island. Boseiju, Takenuma. So we still have one more blue land than either green or black, and I think that's going to go back up. Haunted Mire and Islet. And... Wait, did we not do the two snow-covered ones? Oh, yeah, we did. Right, I passed them because they were in with the rest of them. Okay. And I got distracted by Port of Carfel. So yeah, there's Mistrise Village is blue. Blackgate. Enters tapped, unless I pay 3 life. Tap, add black. 1 black tap. Choose a player with the most life and a target creature. That player can't block that creature this turn. We probably don't need that. Even if we usually won't have the most life, I don't think I need this. That frees up like one more non-basic land slot. And that brings us back to the top. Yep. Alright, so 6 lands. We have more islands than anything else. So... It's probably still supposed to be 2, 2, and 2, though. Like, we have a few more islands, but I don't want to not have, like, basic islands to go get if we need blue mana, so... So yeah, even though I got rid of one of them, we still have some room. Alright, so we just go 2, 2, and 2 then. Island 2, Swamp 2, and Forest 2. Alright, so that's going to do it for Teval. I'm going to cut it off here for the VOD, but I'm going to go take a look at Strawberry's deck. So if you're watching this live, we're going to keep going, and if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.